swear. Ah.
Yes, there it is. I'm going to leave. It's 6 o'clock. I'm going to start the meeting.
So push, oh, you did it already, perfect, all set.
All right, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I'll take the roll call. Commissioner Garlock.
Here.
Commissioner Gilbert. Present. Commissioner Hosky, not here yet. Commissioner Idarola.
Here.
Commissioner Mancini.
Here.
Commissioner Tagliatella.
Here.
Commissioner Perry, not here yet. Chairman Arthur Kelly here. I'm going to read the call of the meeting. The West Haven Charter Revision Commission will conduct a special meeting, public hearing on Thursday, May 21st, 2026 at 6 p.m. in the Harriet North Community Room, second floor, City Hall, 355 Main Street, West Haven. At this time, I'd like to see if there's any interest from the public for their input on the Charter Revision Commission's draft report that was on the website, and hard copies are here if you need them. Is it on?
First of all, I apologize, Frederick Brown, 100 Smith Street, before I forget my address again. I apologize, I'm still having a hearing problem, so if you speak to me, I might not be able to hear you.
Okay.
I would just like to ask a couple of questions, and again, I've just picked this up, the draft up here. Does this include alternate commissioners in the Allentown Fire Department? I see regular commissioners there, but I do not see alternate commissioners there. And
Attorney
right now, the
Cassini,
commission
are
consists
we
of
able
4
to
regulars and 2 alternates.
respond to these questions, or do we have to wait? We can respond? Okay. The language is for all commissioners and refers to state statute for their roles and responsibilities. All commissioners includes the alternates. The alternates are commissioners, so all commissioners includes the alternates. If that is the way you see it, attorneys, yep.
And my next question is, where does, in this, do we cover alternate commissioners?
Through all commissioners, it states all commissioners.
Because from what I saw on the phone, it said alternates wouldn't participate in meetings, and that's not how the state statutes reads.
In the draft, you saw that?
Pardon?
In this draft, you saw that?
No, it's what I had the phone at home. I did look at the draft at home.
Okay. So alternate commissioners include, as part of all commissioners.
Yeah, any prescription will, oh, yeah. Any prescription that you see that addresses commissioners, addresses all commissioners, including alternate commissioners. I believe the question is specifically asking about the portion that establishes and appoints Allentown Fire Commissioners. And correct me if I'm wrong, but what I think you're asking is, it says there shall be a City of West Haven, Allentown Board of Fire Commissioners consisting of 5 members. And you're asking, what about the alternates, right? Say yes
Okay.
instead of not.
Need to say yes.
Affirmative?
Say yes to his question, please.
So
Say yes.
the attorneys have received that question from other people already, and it will be marked up so that the final draft accurately reflects that which has been discussed, which, as the chair pointed out, is to be 5 members and 2 alternates. As I understand it, it exists now, 1 alternate each from the alternative fire districts, and that will remain in the final draft when it appears.
So there'll be
Okay.
5 permanent commissioners that can be appointed, and 2 alternates for a total of 7. And out of the 5, if one is missing, one of the alternates can be put in their place, and they would have the full duties and responsibilities of a permanent alternate.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And,
Thank you.
Thank you for your work so far.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Hello.
Hello.
I don't have to say my name and address, do I? Or is
Yes,
it the same?
name and address.
Okay, Kristen Jacome Hockelman, 53 Sumac Street. So, out of what I have to say today, it's that there's actually only one question, and I'm happy to circle back on the question in case it gets lost in what I'm saying. So I'll start off by saying, good evening, everyone. I want to start by saying I'm open to change and modernization. I understand West Haven is looking to move forward and recognize why there's a push for stronger structure. At the same time, I believe effective local government should balance what I call the 3 Ps: professionalism, productivity, and people. And these things should not exist separately. As I reviewed portions of proposed charter revisions, I could understand the reasoning behind several changes. Some may support a 4-year mayoral term, mayoral, I don't know how to say it, for continuity, project planning, and stability. However, I also understand the discussion around appointed positions requiring expertise, such as the treasurer role. One question I continue asking myself is, are we modernizing government while still preserving meaningful public influence and accountability? I believe it's natural for residents to ask questions when positions once elected by voters become appointed and able to serve by the pleasure of the administration, at the pleasure of the administration. For some, this can create concern, not only about one individual, but about whether government slowly becomes more administrative than participatory. I find it interesting to learn that similar conversations happened during the 2020 failed charter revision process, which proposed even broader professional management changes. So it leads me to believe that this conversation has been building for years. I've learned a charter is one of the most important governing documents a city has. It should not only function as a legal document, but also reflect the people in the community it serves, all 55,000 plus of us. Some of the updated language feels more technical administrative, which I suppose can be necessary after the past financial difficulties. I'm still unsure. My hope for West Haven is simply that we continue finding ways to make local government understandable, approachable, and accessible for the average resident, and to not rush processes, but understand what it means to build a strong foundation. I'd like to take a quick moment to share I believe broader community representation throughout this process would have been very beneficial. Around 29 individuals expressed interest in participating in the Charter Revision Commission process, including myself. Expanding opportunities for new voices, perspectives, can help strengthen public and confidence in the process. I'd also like to say this respectfully because perception does matter in local government. When residents see close political or family relationships connected to appointments, it's natural for some to question whether the process feels organic or even intentions are true and authentic. For me, this conversation is less about political personalities and more about making sure we all take part of building systems that are transparent, accountable, informative, and trusted, regardless who will be in office or who is in office. I see modernization working best when residents understand not only what is changing, but why those changes matter and how they will impact us all. Otherwise, there can be a growing feeling of distance between government and the people it's to serve. So I do appreciate attorneys for your diligence and the CRC committee that was put together. But the question again, I'll go back to it, is I'd love to hear thoughts, seeing that we could have some discussion, which is pretty cool, seeing that City Council, there is no discussion, is are we modernizing government while preserving meaningful public influence and accountability? And if you can share some reasons as to why you believe so and how so.
Anybody like to comment?
No comment is a comment too. No worries. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the commission? Yes. Hi. Please say that again.
Sorry. Silvana Apicella, 281 Highland Ave. And I served on the previous charter revision, so that's why I had to come. I was out of town for the last public session, but I'm here now. I'm taking advantage of it. So I hope that maybe you'll take some of my suggestions today. I know that you're changing the tax collector and treasurer to appointed. So my, what I would like to see, and this was put in the previous charter as well, as we had mandatory qualifications for that. To be a tax collector, they should be a certified tax collector. Nepotism still runs in the city, even though I feel that a lot of professionals have been hired, which has been a nice change of pace. I walk in here and I see a lot of people that grew up in my neighborhood. They're all like friends of friends. So I already know, the family and friends thing still going on in the city. So having qualifications for these positions is really important, instead of just a new mayor coming in and being like, oh, I owe this person for something back when. Yeah, they can do the job, put them in, you know what I mean? So it's really important that we have qualified individuals in these positions, not just family and friends. For the treasurer, minimum bachelor degree in accounting, business, finance, economics, or related field, or 5 years. Now, I would go either 2 to 5 years experience. That would be, up to you, but some, working experience working in finance or a related field would be important. Also, under the director of finance, director of public works, let's see. So director of finance, I have a minimum of a bachelor's degree in appropriate field, including a minimum of 5 years municipal, but I would take 2 to 5 years of municipal experience. Director of public works, a minimum bachelor's degree in public administration, engineering, or related field, a demonstrated background in public works management or civil engineering. I feel is really important, because we don't want what's happened in the past. We had a stay-at-home dad as the head of that department, and it was garbage. Okay. Also, I have a comment on, is there a time limit?
No,
I don't have that much more, but I just
No,
didn't
go
want to
ahead.
get dinged in between.
no
So.
time limit.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so filling city council vacancies is requiring has always been really the recommendation of the mayor, but candidates work so hard during the election cycle to get out and meet constituents. They knock doors, they make phone calls, they attend, public appearances, they try to connect with, constituents to get elected, and they work so hard. And I feel like it'd be a disservice to the people of West Haven to just pass, someone who is, up and coming, maybe shows a lot of potential within, one party or the other, to just be handed over. Like, I feel like they should have to work for it, just like, the other candidates did. And the people should decide at the end of the day. That's my opinion. And let's see if I have anything else. So I would like to see a special election happen if there was ever a vacancy for city council. They do it for, state positions if there's a special election. So I would like to see that at a local level as well. And also the last thing is the last meeting, I noticed you guys were discussing the Village Improvement Association, and nobody mentioned that it was a nonprofit. So in our last revision, we just wanted to state in the charter that it was a 501c3. I know there's some things, I believe the mayor mentioned that there are some things that the city does pay for employees, I think, right? So even maybe just stating what the city does for that organization, because again, they are a 501c3, and maybe list that it's a 501c3. So those are my recommendations. Thank you guys for all your work. You have done a marathon in a sprint, and I appreciate you all, and good luck. I hope what you do passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to address the commission? For the second time, is there anyone else who would like to address the commission on public input? For the third and final time, is there anyone who'd like to address the commission? Hearing none, we're going to close the public hearings segment of our meeting. Can I get a motion to adjourn? By Tagliatella. Second. Second by Garlock. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. I will now open the regular West Haven Charter Revision Commission meeting immediately following the public input. I wouldn't have to do the roll call again. Yes, quorum does exist. I would ask you to, I'm sorry, say, yes, for the minutes. If you could look at the minutes. I heard a good. Did you make a motion? You made a motion, okay. Second. Second by Commissioner Gilbert. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. Okay, discussion and action, if necessary, on suggestions, recommendations from the City Council, Mayor, Department Heads, and the public regarding charter revision. We have some open items. Attorney Mednick?
I don't know that there are any open items
Okay.
at this point. I do know that the council liaison raised a question, and I think I discovered the confusion. When you look at, on page 48 of the red line,
Your microphone's on, right?
it is, yes, I'll try to get close to it. On page 48 of the red line, there is still a residency and elector requirement under the appointment of the tax collector. The requirement was taken out of the body. I did not take it out of the title. So I will make that correction when we act on this finally.
Okay.
Next week, you'll see that that is corrected. I just wanted him to know that. The other thing that I will have for you, so I'm looking at the yellow page, the yellow document, is I will have consolidated sections dealing with the Office of Profit, repetitive provisions that we have. That's the only other thing I think I need to do based on the other thing, and then we'll fix the alternate language that was raised tonight. If that's okay with everybody, we'll add the two alternates
Yes.
to that. And otherwise, I think we're in pretty good shape. What I'd encourage everybody to do, and really you can't read it enough, and it will not be taken in any adverse way or criticism in any way, shape, or form. If you find typos, anything that we got wrong, let's try to fix it before our next meeting. I think our next meeting will be a relatively short meeting, which will make it easier for me the next day to file the report. So I don't know if you want to address any of the things that came up tonight.
Well, I'd like to see if we have some discussion on
Yeah.
it. Yeah, when he comes back in.
Weren't we supposed to get recommendations by the city council after what we submitted tonight?
No.
No.
No, that comes
next
after
week?
we set, what happens is we file our draft report with them next Friday.
And they'll send recommendations?
They then meet, they'll send the recommendations back to us.
And you all got my email about the June 24th joint meeting with the council that they've requested with us. June 24th. It's a Wednesday? Is it a Wednesday? I don't know.
Yeah, that is called the conferral meeting, just to
Yep.
further with Charter Revision 101. The very first meeting, when it comes back to you, is the conferral meeting. It's a joint meeting, but you both convene. we'll see who fights over which tables you get to sit at. But and that's where they present their recommendations to you. You have an opening dialogue with them. And throughout that process, either through Ron Quagliani or Ron and the president will have a continuing dialogue depending on what comes back before us after that. Unless they come back with an awful lot, my general MO is you have 30 days. My general MO is that you'll probably get it done in 1 or 2 meetings.
Yes. You haven't seen the email yet? Commissioner Gilbert? You haven't seen the email yet? The email I sent out? Harry. Yes, yeah. I included the dates that the council is meeting. Obviously, if you're interested in going, you can go, not required. But the council meetings where they will be discussing our recommendations, I gave you those dates. Okay.
And I'll have prepared for you that night, unless we expect, and if we do have changes, I'll bring it to you the next day. I'll have your transmittal letter ready
Right.
for you. The transmittal letter, I prepared for the chair and for public consumption, a list of all the things that we have done thus far. And those will be in the letter that the chair will write on behalf of the commission in the transmittal to the council. So my hope would be to have it here, have the chair sign it, so that the next morning I could file the documents.
Okay, discussion on public input tonight. Anybody have any thoughts on any of the comments? Go ahead.
I think I appreciated Ms. Apicella's recommendation that there be some qualifications for those 2 positions. Not that I want to hold things up, but she made a good point. Because if that's an appointed position, if it's my understanding, it was the intent to create more longevity and qualification to the position. And then an incoming mayor that was Democrat, Republican, Independent, Green Party, could keep that person. It wouldn't be such a political position, if you will. You know, you could have a retired CPA or something from Ansonia say, I'll do that.
Right.
That was what I thought was, I mean, you know, I'm not looking to upset the apple.
Well,
cart
again,
here, but
and it's a very good point that she brought up. Certainly want to continue to discuss it. I don't know enough about other cities and towns. I don't know how many people are out there with those qualifications that would be interested. I just don't know. I don't know if anybody else
not
has any.
necessarily qualifications as far as a tax collector or treasurer, but maybe some kind of degree or something, yeah. And it
Right.
doesn't have to be a degree in finance or whatever. I'm just throwing it out there. Like,
No, I
I don't
understand,
want to make
yeah.
a big, you know.
You want more of a professional
Maybe
background,
it wouldn't be such a political position.
Correct.
Kelly becomes mayor,
right?
bringing in my cousin from,
That's right. No, I
you know, Roberta becomes mayor, and I'm bringing my nephew in from,
right.
not that I'm saying those things happen, but,
Right.
you know.
I think
And
what,
then if you took over as mayor, you'd say, she's doing a great job. She's been here for 7 years under 2 administrations or whatever. I have no reason to remove her. She's never done anything wrong and everything looks good, you know. Somebody can do that for 11 years. And I think the mayor touched on, people don't want these positions because of no longevity,
Right.
you know. But
So I would assume that there have to be employment contracts in place to bring them through the election cycles.
I think a big importance is somebody, like for the tax collector position, they have experience in municipal taxes. So not someone who's just freshly out of college and doesn't really know anything about the laws.
When,
Mr.
What's-
Gilbert has something?
go ahead, Art.
Just as there is a process, and some towns do have that. When you get elected to be tax collector, they put a time limit on the amount of time that you have to be elected. There's a certification process that goes through OPM that you can go, it's a series of, I think, 3 different courses that, different forms of government, tax collection laws and everything else like that. It's all rolled into one, but it takes about 3 years to become certified. So that's the process that the association has for their members to be certified.
Go ahead, Attorney Mendick.
In an earlier version of the document, because I think in most of my charters, we try to get away from specific recommendations for each of the positions. But what I can do, and I have done in a lot of charters, is in the department section, have a broad qualifications provision that says that all of the appointees in this section shall have qualifications to meet the best practices in the field, including levels of prior municipal or other similar experience, educational qualifications, et cetera. So it sets the broad parameters rather than establish a specific parameter for what a tax collector should be. It would also indicate that if there are any testing requirements, they have to be met in order to retain the job, to get to Commissioner Gilbert's point about tax collectors. So I can develop some language if that's what you might be interested in.
Yeah, I remember when we first got started, that was one of the first things that we discussed
Yeah,
about addressing it, but not in a wholly prescriptive way was what was brought up.
right.
I can't remember which
We
of
don't
you.
want the charter to look like the job description, but the parameters should be set broadly, as Attorney Mednick said, in my opinion.
Most towns that do not have an elected tax collector require those certifications. So, but during a period when a person's elected, you're probably going to have, because it's a 3-year period for that process.
Right. They may only be in for 2 years.
I'm sorry,
Tax
what?
collector. Tax collector may only be in for 2 years right now.
Yeah,
So,
but you're also appointed now. So you can automatically put that, in my opinion, you can put that in as
I
a
don't remember,
priority because it's
was
not
the
elected.
intention to appoint the tax manager as the tax collector?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Was the intention originally to appoint the tax manager who actually runs the tax collector department?
I don't know, maybe Kevin can, I thought that we have a office manager now from the finance
Yes.
department.
who
There
runs
is
the
now
tax
a-
department.
There is now a tax manager.
Yes,
The duties of the tax manager in West Haven are not dissimilar from the duties of a tax collector in many other municipalities, larger and smaller. And that was one thing that we had discussed as well, about the more ceremonial position of collector, and then also dealing with who would be a signatory out of that office. There's plenty of record that you all already have about that conversation. Attorney Mendick and I can speak about it. But as I think, as was just said, and I think was said earlier, you had all decided, we can review to make sure I'm correct, but to make sure that it wasn't an ongoing job description that needed to then be changed ongoing as well. But Commissioner Gilbert, I think your point was also made previously, and again, I'll check with Attorney Mendick, that there are specific provisions in other city charters that say, well, if a collector is to be appointed, he must this, that, and the other thing, as a very base level, as a minimum requirement thing.
And you can do in a general provision, you could say all provisions, all positions that have statutory requirements must meet the statutory requirements and testing, or licensing.
Certifications.
Certifications, and things like that. Town clerks have to do it too. Even elected
Right.
town clerks really should get their certification. So I can develop some, with the Corp Council, some general language, and I'll try to make sure it's distributed to you before next Thursday.
Yep.
I mean, worst comes to worst, if I have to clean it up on Thursday night, that won't be a problem for Friday. But that would be something that I thought was worthwhile at the
All right.
public hearing.
Sounds
tonight.
like everybody would be in favor of that.
Good.
Do you need to,
Thank you.
do you need to make a
good
motion?
point.
I'm sorry, say that again,
Do you
Dale.
need to make a motion?
Can we get a motion to that effect? Motion by Commissioner Garlock, second by Ida Rolla. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, any other comments from the public that we want to discuss? No, the public input has been closed, yeah. I like your attitude, though.
I do have one thing to bring to the attention of the body that was brought to my attention, and I believe we discussed it. It's rattling around there, but I couldn't find any specific vote in my notes. In transitioning one position from elected to appointed, is that meant to also come with the qualification that that appointed position shall be elector? There are two positions that you're doing that with currently. Is either of those, as an appointee, now also required to be an elect? Of course, if you're running for office, you must be an elector. Does that carry over to the appointment or no? I know
would
that we had
think
discussion, I don't remember.
I think that would limit the pool of candidates if we did that.
Certainly arithmetically, it would do so, yes.
You weren't in the room when I mentioned it, neither was the chief. But in response to the chief's comments, I pointed out that we actually deleted the resident and elector requirement in the body, but left it in the title. So it's really a Scrivener's change. So it was approved. In fact, in the red line, you'll see that it was
Great.
eliminated. And I had seen it, and I meant to eliminate it and did not. So we will take care of that. Let me make sure it's in the treasurer's, that's the same with the treasurer.
So we're talking about both positions.
Both positions, they do not have to be residents.
What about?
Yes, the treasurer, I did not carry the error through on the treasurer. So
What about the qualifications for treasurer? Are we looking at the same thing?
I think the broad definition will
Yes.
cover all
Okay,
appointees.
for both appointments.
Not just those two, but all department heads.
Right, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
correct, okay, thank you.
In some, it remains now more specific. For instance, corporation counsel has to be a graduate of law school and a licensed attorney. So in some places, it does make sense to be that specific, but that's not a job description, that's just a base level requirement.
So we're looking at base level requirements for all positions.
Best practices.
Best practices, yes.
Standards, yeah, some professional standards in accordance with accredited standard groups that may or may not apply. Like for an engineer, for example, there's
Sure.
probably, and the other question, I'll give you some alternatives. We could put a requirement in here that the Human Resources Department should come up with the descriptions. Now, you can't change a description of somebody when they're in the office, but they would be prospective, change. So whenever there's a vacancy, they'd have to come up with an up-to-date job description.
Okay. Thank you.
Too bad Mrs. Apsella didn't stay. She would have been happy to know her suggestion.
Okay, any other comments that anyone would like to discuss that were made tonight from the public?
I just want to make a point about those,
Oh, this is going to be the audit?
qualifications.
Yes.
The reason that the association, Tax Collectors Association, became aware of all this was the fact that tax collector, I believe from Plainfield, Connecticut, or Plainville or Plainfield, decided to spend money elsewhere. And the association, that was the money from the association, so it led from that to the fact that they have to be certified. So it was a reason why it was done, it was a good reason.
Thank you.
Do you want me to?
I have another note we've made in the body. If you look to the very bottom right, you see the page number C17. It's the block that's in yellow. Annual and other reports, Section 4, annual and other reports, under Chapter 3, the mayor. Note that I have here from Attorney Mednick was post-public hearing between A and B, is B meant to reflect the annual audit? And from myself, in A, simply in or out, are we going to retain A, or is that already dealt with in B? Meaning, must there be at the end of each fiscal year a submission of the annual report to the mayor by the department head, by every board, and by every commission? Or is what is intended to get done in A satisfied by the transmittal of the summary annual report to the council and to the taxpayers? Meaning, if the mayor is responsible to do that, will the mayor go to all departments, boards, and commissions and ask for them to provide that information? I think we decided that that would be annual audit, but that's my outstanding question for post-public hearing. And that's why it still remains in mustard
And the
yellow.
3 month wouldn't work for the annual audit, because the annual audit's not due until December anyhow, so.
Right.
These are current provisions in the charter, so these are not added. The only changes you'll see are the definitional changes, but this issue did come up during the process.
So do we need to add anything?
I think,
I think the question is whether we need A, and whether we should just change B to the transmittal of summary annual report to the audit review or something like that. I mean, because my understanding is, maybe the councilman can tell us, do these annual reports get filed now? By
You know,
department heads?
So that's a very broad term, annual report. I don't know what constitutes an annual report. I've been on the council for a lot of years, and I've never had a mayor come and present an annual report to us. I interpreted the annual report as being the audit, but I don't know if any departments do that regularly to the mayor, but I don't recall a mayor coming to the council and addressing us with an annual report.
In my experience, Mr. Chair, a lot of the items in A, and if the council member is not aware that this has been done, I would think he would be aware that it has been done. Most of the stuff that you're asking for in here is probably included in budget submissions during the course of the budget process in terms of the operations, the physical and financial operational needs of each of the departments. So I would think A would be probably satisfied during the budget process, and B can be modified to basically have the audit to make sure everybody gets their hands on the audit. The audit really is a legislative function, so I'm not sure why it's in the mayor's section anyhow, so we may not only change it, but move it into the council section, since it's a council function, but that would be my thinking on it. I could craft that, get rid of 4A and modify 4B and move it to the council section, that the annual audit satisfies that requirement.
Okay, so someone want to make a motion to that effect?
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Gilbert,
Second.
second by Mancini. Any discussion?
Makes sense.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Anything else from the attorneys?
as you flip through, you see more mustard yellow, and almost all of them are tagged by Attorney Mednick with the question around redundancy. The city clerk,
I mentioned that while you were out,
okay, great,
that I'll consolidate everything for the next one.
wonderful.
All right.
Any other items from the attorneys? No? Any other business to come before this commission at this time? So we're on schedule for next Thursday, 6 o'clock, and to approve our recommendations to the council and to hand it off to the council the next day, Friday, May 29th. So what we discussed tonight, you will work on, get it to us, and we'll have everything cleaned up by next Thursday. And that'll be it. none other business, a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a first by Garlock and a second by Mancini. All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.